Going all the way back to the beginning, talk to me about the process of seeing your entire life. Was it tough being vulnerable or more therapeutic?
Well, I didn't really think of it as being vulnerable. Give you a little history on the movie. I'd written 4 books. 3, but when I met, I guess the fourth one had just come out. Anyway, so I met Davis Guggenheim, the director, Academy Award winning director. So when he came to me, I took him seriously, and listened to what he had to say. And he liked my books a lot, and they'd helped him a lot with some problems he was going through. And so he said he had this idea of making a film, and immediately I said, well, I don't want to make a film about me. I don't want to produce it. I don't want to direct it. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I don't want to win an award for like how I wrote about myself. And so he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, let's go ahead cautiously. And so we went ahead. And then the lawyers called and said, okay, here's how it works. You get 3 complaints about things you don't like. And I said, no, you're getting this all wrong. I want this filmmaker to make a film, find a narrative that he wants to make. My life is this big pile of facts and circumstances. And let him find the ones that make him interested and do the story that he wants to do. So he got in this idea of this through line of my film parts and roles and situations with my life's roles and situations. And so like when I was in trouble, there'd be a scene from a movie where I was in trouble. When I was falling in love with my wife, there was a scene of the 2 of us in Greenwich Village walking through the streets, and I was literally falling in love with her. And so, there was that kind of weight in the movie and that kind of like real positive tension. And so it was real. I loved it. I never had any complaints about it. I loved the whole process.
You mentioned your wife. Tell me about the first time that the 2 of you met on set.
Well, she was hired to play Alex's girlfriend, and she was a really interesting woman. She was from New York, and so she had a theater background. And I was like this idiot from Canada, could time a joke and lucked into the biggest cash pile in the world. And so I was kind of a jerk when I met her. And she went out for dinner, for lunch one day, came back, and I could smell garlic. So I said, whoa, scampi for lunch, babe. And she launched into this stream of profanity directed at me. And I realized, wow, this girl is really great. And then gradually we got together, and she auditioned for Bright Lights Big City and got the part. And within a year, we were married.
Within a year. Was it love at first sight then for you?
Well, it was for me, not love at first sight, but very close to it. Love at first ass kicking.
We'll take that. You had first kept your Parkinsons diagnosis under wraps for a while, but when you told Tracy, she immediately said to you, in sickness or in health, that broke my heart in all the most beautiful ways. What was going through your mind when she said that to you?
Well, it was a tremendous relief, but I don't know that she really meant it. I don't know that I really heard it the right way. Like it's such a fraught moment. I understood why she said it, and I'm always grateful that she did, and she would never back off having said it and followed through on it. But it's a heavy thing because we were just married. We were married like a year, not much more than a year. We had a little baby, and what do? You walk in and you say, "I got this disease that only old people get." So like even if everything goes all right, then you've got this old person at 29, and so she said immediately. She said in sickness and health, and I knew that as best she could, she would be there with me, and she's been there with me for 35 years. So.
You recently talked about how you're thinking about the morality of it all. What led you to that thought, and what does that thought lead you to?
Well, morality is not my area. Mortality, I would say.
Mortality, sorry.
Morality, I failed that one, so I don't even try anymore. No, mortality, just that, people always ask me, they dance around the fact that they have this sense of this notion of Parkinson's being a fatal disease. It's not strictly speaking a fatal disease, but what I always say is you don't die from it, but you usually die with it. And the joke in that is you always die with it. There's no cure for it, so but you can last a long time if you do some basic things right. Diet and be careful. And my family always says to me, slow down, don't run, don't fall, because I've fallen a lot. That's what gets you, the falling or the inhaling, aspirating your food, which then goes in your lungs and you get pneumonia. So there's things you have to be careful of. But you know, at the same time too, you can do all that stuff and be careful and say, I don't want to get Parkinson's. I'm going to do everything I can not to get Parkinson's and all these other diseases. And you're thinking so much about it that you step off the bus and you're gone because the other bus is coming. And say, then what was it all about? You forgot to look for the bus. So worried about the bicycle. And so I just live life like open one step at a time and enjoy it. And Tracy's a huge part of me having this life and continuing this life. She's pretty cool.
Just lastly, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, I don't know. I'm the wrong guy to ask that. I don't think about legacy. I think my legacy would be whatever the last words I say, pass the potatoes. That's my legacy. I didn't get the potatoes. I don't think about that stuff. I hope. I was saying to someone earlier, my mother died in September. She was 93. She's an amazing woman. She's very sweet. And I was writing her obituary. My family asked me to write the obituary, so I did. And the last thing that I wrote, I couldn't think of what to say to close it off. And I knew this was kind of a cliche, and others had said it before, but it was the right thing to say for her, because she left the world a better place than when she found it. If I can just do that, then I'm rocking.